Hey, welcome back to the PvZ 2 Reflourished NUZLOCKE series, where I take an impossible challenge and bend the rules into a pretzel to make it both possible and delicious. Last time, we went through ancient Egypt and came out with these plants. Today, we will be covering both Pirate Seas and Wild West, which I will be able to talk about much more compared to the previous video, so strap yourselves in, because we got some work to do. Speaking of the previous video, go check that one out if you haven't already, because we cover some very important rules and edge cases, so click on the card that will appear right now. And on that topic, thank you so much for nearly 400 views in the first video. I'm genuinely shocked that this video performed so well for so few subscribers. So seeing that number slowly rise makes my day. Before we start though, let's peep the rules again. Feel free to pause to read. I've also split this into two sections, because I thought up of another rule and it'd take way too much space for just one slide. With the new Reflourished update, hypothermic hollows is now laid out like assault airspace, so now I'm making it required as well. I've also added an additional rule for the upgrades, mostly the ones that can be purchased in the shop, but I also squeezed in some for the free ones. In order to not waste more of your time, I've put the explanation for those in the pinned comment, so feel free to read up. You can also check out the explanations for the rules in the card that will pop up on your screen now. Without further delay, let's get started. Day 1 of Pirate Seas is as simple as you can get. Only basic zombies and the introduction to the world's main gimmick, plank lanes. If you haven't played PvZ 2 before, plank lanes allow most zombies to cross through without any issues and also gives us our 9 columns. But lanes without planks can only allow us 5 columns of planting space, as well as limiting the zombies that can cross down to 3. Speaking of those zombies, I did kind of lie about only having basics, because we also beat the first of the plankless zombies, that being the Swashbuckler, who swings onto the field at column 5. To counter this, I use Walnut and Bok Choy, while having Cabbage Pulse in the back to deal with everything else. One thing I should mention about this world is that Potato Mine is actually significantly nerfed. How is it nerfed? You cannot plant it and other plants that dig into the ground on plank lanes due to them being very, very thin. From this level we earn Kernel Pole, who we immediately put to work on day 2 to counter Seagull zombies, which are the second of the 3 plankless zombie threats. Outside of that, this level goes just about the same as the previous one. On day 3, we obtained a Snapdragon, our first AoE plant, which we immediately put to work on day 4, and will be one of our common suspects throughout the rest of the world. We also see our first set of Buckethead zombies, which aren't a big deal since now we have access to the strongest plant food in the early game. So these next levels won't be too much of an issue. Day 6 sees the first time that Swashbucklers and Seagulls appear in the same level, forcing me to bring Kernel Pulse and make sure I had proper attacking plants in the plankless lanes. Also, I'd like to mention that these zombies can still spawn on plank lanes, so that's why we had them in every lane. Anyways, beating that level gives us Spikeweed, who will be extremely helpful for the rest of the challenge. Or at least just for the rest of the video. We won't be seeing it much at the moment, but trust me when I say that he's really good for the Nuzlocke. Day 7 introduces the Barrel Roller zombies, which is the reason we got Spikeweed from the last level. Unfortunately, we can't use them against them for the same reason that you want to be able to use them against Zambonis in the first game. They sacrifice themselves to insta-kill them. This won't come up as an issue too much, but thankfully early PvZ 2 levels spoon feed you plant food, so I can just take care of each of them with Cabbage Pulse's plant food effect. By the way, he's still here. It's also good to mention that the barrel stops moving if the barrel roller dies first, so we're going to aim towards them before we even think about dealing with the barrel. On that topic, the barrel will spawn 2 imps, one in each adjacent lane upon destroying it, which never really causes us any issues, thankfully. After gaining access to the Wild West, we continue our quest to shoo Zomboss out of this time period in day 9, where we use an unusual setup to obtain the Spring Bean. I would like to take the time in this level to mention the sunflower situation. we've usually only been able to place a singular column of sunflowers, meaning we're a bit slow with getting our plants out, which means we have to heavily rely on potato mines and walnuts to keep the zombies at bay until we have enough attackers out to deal with the rest of the level. This also means that we don't have enough sun to quickly get my plants out, so I'm usually developing the lawn for the entire level. This doesn't end up being a problem right now, but this might be an issue in the future. So let's move on to the next level already. Day 10 is the introduction to the Imp Cannon, which I use Repeater to counter, since it has a decently high health pool, and if I don't defeat it in time, it will launch a bunch of imps right into my defense, which is the last thing I want. By the way, it's the last of the zombies that could use the plankless lanes. Thankfully, Repeater and Colonel Pulp were all I needed to take care of the cannons without any issues. Day 12 is more of the same, earning us the Shovel Boost upgrade, which gives us a small refund whenever we dig up a plant. I also obtained a Coconut Cannon on day 11, and sad to say, but we're not going to be using it anytime soon. Day 13 sees the debut with a pirate captain zombie, who isn't a threat by himself, but rather through his trusty parrot, which flies to a plant nearby in order to take it off the lawn. It can be defeated, but it's fairly tanky, so you do need to have decent DPS, or else you'll need either plant food to shoo it away, or just let it steal your plant and pray that you won't end up losing too many. Thankfully, it doesn't cause us many issues. Also, it was a produced sun level, which we easily clear. Day 14 is our first last stand of the world, and we discover that for some weird reason, Zen Garden boosts just don't work. I don't know why this happens, but I really wish it didn't happen. Please take a look. Okay, that's a walnut. Fuck. Shit. Oh, fuck, that's my walnut. Shit, that was my walnut. We lost our very first plant, the walnut. This is a most devastating loss, especially for where we are right now, with no alternative wall plant in a world that really benefits from such protection. And now we have to find some way to recover from such a loss. We also almost lost our cabbage pult too, but we barely survived and get to move on to the next level with a new friend, the Three-Peater. Day 15 is a Don't Trample the Flowers level, with the flowers in the least trampleable spot. Here is when we start using spikeweed as a potential replacement for walnut, placing them exactly where walnut once stood, which works, as shocking as it may be. Day 16 is one of 2 levels that feature endangered spring beans, which weren't too hard to protect due to how much plant food we were given. This is also the first time we use iceberg lettuce in the run in order to keep this barrel roller at bay, which works well. Unfortunately, we don't really use it anymore in this video, so enjoy seeing a frozen zombie while it lasts. Day 17 is the first of the defeat X zombies and X seconds levels, and yeah, it's trivialized by plant food. Surely you've noticed by now that we are being absolutely carried by plant food here, and unfortunately, that's not going to change anytime soon. We also gain Spike Rock in the next level, but that won't be important until later, so stick around. Day 19 is a produced sun and a flowers level, but due to it being slapped into day 1, neither of these objectives mean anything. So let's just skip to day 21, which is the real double objective level. In this level, we have to defeat 5 zombies in 5 seconds, which isn't hard because of Cabbage Pole. The real issue comes from the second objective, produce 3,250 sun. We don't have much space for sun producers, and for some stupid reason, I didn't think to just bring Twin Sunflower to solve this issue. Thankfully, we barely squeezed out enough sun at the last second thanks to some panicked sunflowers. From this level, we gain the extra seed slot upgrade, which will allow us to, well, bring an extra plant. Day 22 is the infamous Last Stand level, which we solve with a lot of spikeweed as any player would. Day 23 sees us having to defeat 8 zombies in 10 seconds, and to not let the zombies trample the flowers, which are both achieved by Cabbage Pole and Spikeweed respectively. Man, who the hell designed these levels? There are never enough tanky zombies to make the first part a challenge, and the flowers are placed in the middle of a tile, which means that any plant that can't be destroyed by most zombies nullifies the objective. This world has horrible design, and I can't wait to be done! Oh hey, it's day 24, the second endangered spring bean level. This one is arguably more difficult than the last one because the beans are on the plankless lanes, which are infested with every plankless threat we have, which requires us to use plant food to refresh our spring beans or to keep zombies at bay. We also have pirate captains, which we could probably deal with now that we are using Snapdragon and Repeater, which are decent DPS options. And with that, we collected our first true instant in Cherry Bomb. Kick Zombos' undead ass and move on to Wild West with only 1 plant lost. Wild West's main gimmick are these minecarts, which take up multiple tiles, but a plant placed on them can be moved across the track to cover multiple lanes, which can be useful, but not for now, since this is when our good friend Spikeweed can really shine. Now that every zombie has to step on it, I have no reason to not spam it for the entire world. So that's what I do. Now, why is it that Spikeweed can take care of this entire world? The answer takes a little bit of explaining, but bear with me, alright? In vanilla, Spikeweed deals 10 damage per hit, which is just alright. Now, some silly fella in the Reflourished balance team decided that over 2 separate updates, they should buff Spikeweed and Spike Rock's damage by a total of 50%, with Spikeweed now dealing 15 damage and Spike Rock dealing 30. And 15 damage per hit on a plant like Spikeweed is barely enough to kill a basic zombie with just 1 Spikeweed, which is pretty insane for a plant obtained in the pirate fucking seas. Anyways, Prospector zombies, yeah? The ones who jump to your back line to eat your defense, and Spikeweed prevents it from launching. Guess we will be tossing Split Pea into the trash immediately for the 5 billionth time. Why is this plant so garbage? Moving on to day 3, and wait, doesn't that zombie crush Spikeweeds? How are we supposed to take care of them if they're just gonna kill our most valuable plant? Wait, hold on. Oh, guess there's just not enough to cause me any issues. Cool. Anyways, day 4 gives us Chili Bean, so now we could sell the early waves for even longer. Unfortunately, this brings in the Poncho zombies, which are just too tanky to rely on Spikeweeds alone. So now we have to bring in Spike Rock, which kills zombies twice as fast as the Spikeweed, but at the cost of being nearly 3 times the price. Thankfully, 1 Spikeweed, 2 Spike Rocks, and 1 Cabbage Pole is enough to take care of the Ponchos. Day 6 is definitely the most fun I've had in this game. I placed 1 column of Spike Rocks to take care of the Pianists, which don't spawn enough to kill any of them, a column of Spikeweed, and a column of Spring Bean to knock the survivors back to the Spike Rocks. This works thanks to the plant food we start with, and it's really funny how this is the singular use Spring Bean has outside of Pirate Seas. Beating this level gives us access to Peapod, who we'll be seeing later on in the run. On day 7, I decided it's finally time to bring out Spike Rock to deal with the high density of Bucketheads and Poncho Zombies, which are just too tanky to reliably handle with just Spikeweeds, especially without any walnuts to block them. After unlocking Far Future and the Lightning Reed, I finally have enough gems to purchase my first premium plant, that being the Imitator. Now, I'd like to take this moment to say that I've adjusted how Imitator works. Instead of consuming lives first, it doubles the lives of the plant it imitates, with the imitator perishing after the 5th life, and the actual plant going down after the 6th. I did this so that it's actually worth using. Anyways, day 10 introduces Chicken Wrangler Zombies, which, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, is countered by our Spikeweeds, so we don't have to change a thing about our setup, except for the positions of the spikes to account for the pianists in this level. Day 11 is a sun limit level, only allowing us to spend 500 sun? How the hell Peapod on the back minecart? Since this is just a reskin of day 1, Peapod can just solo the entire stage. We get the shovel perk from this level, taking our shovel refund from 25% to 50%. Day 13 introduces the Bull Rider Zombies, which we don't have a counter for yet. That means it's time to improvise. To deal with the Bull Riders, I use a combination of Spikeweed, Bok Choy, and the Melon Pulse that I unlocked from day 12 to take care of the Bull Riders before they could do damage to my twin sunflowers, which I recently swapped to. Day 14 features chickens and pianists, which should go well, but unfortunately I was hit with the curse of speedrunning, which made me try to play fast and greed, which caused me to lose my twin sunflowers, which is not good, because we kind of need that extra sun production to avoid more spike rocks. Yeah, I don't feel good about that one. Day 15 is a repeat of day 3, so we'll just take out Walnut Repair and leave. Day 16 sees us protecting an endangered walnut that's on a minecart, which was really easy because we could just move the walnut out of the way. I do want to remind y'all that I'm going to keep using Spikeweed and Spike Rock for the rest of this world, so these levels are going to go quite fast. Very sorry for that. To compensate, I'll be giving you guys a very important choice. If you go into my Discord server, link is in the description below, and go to the suggestions booth, you will see a poll. You will be voting between Foliage Vs Undead and the PvZ Randomizer. If you want information on what those two are, go down to the description and check out the 2 videos linked there, for they will show off what they are. The poll will last 2 weeks, and the winner will be done whenever I get the chance. Thank you to those who participate in the poll. Let's return to the run. Day 17 is the return of the bull, which means it's time to pull out Bok Choy and Melopult again. We also have to prevent the zombies from trampling the flowers, but let's be honest, this objective is a total pushover in the early worlds. Our second last stand of the world is located on day 18, where we have to face a lot of chickens, and with not enough sun to confidently handle it with Spikeweeds alone. I opt for 2 columns of Spikeweeds and 3 lightning reeds and minecarts to ensure that all the zombies die by the time they leave the spikes, earning us the Tall Net, which I have been looking forward to ever since I lost Spawn Net in the last world. Day 19 has the plant loss limit and sun limit objectives, which had me tapping my noggin for a little bit. To start, I used potato mines to get my sunflowers going, and then I started setting up my tall nets early with the help of imitators so that I could solve for any future waves. Then came the Spikeweeds, which I was unfortunately unable to place enough of due to my poor execution. This didn't cause me too much trouble because of plant food, but we got through it regardless. Day 21, on the other hand, I execute much better. I traded off sunflowers for 2 columns of Spikeweeds and a column of tall nuts, and it worked much better than the last level because I was able to actually get it all out there. Day 23 is the last level of this world where I semi-mindlessly spam Spikeweeds and Spike Rocks. Nothing special going on here. And finally, we have day 24, which has us protect 3 endangered walnuts that are each on minecarts. This level was actually a little bit intense, mostly because of the chickens as well as the minecarts being in the front, where my spikeweeds need to be. The walnuts end up taking quite a bit of damage, but what would a vanilla PvZ2 level be without 500 plant food being forcefully shoved down your throat, eh? From this level, we obtain the Wintermelon, who we'll be seeing sometime in the future. In the meantime, we take down Zomboss yet again and move on to the far future, which we'll be covering in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to leave a like or even subscribe, and thanks again for all the views on the first episode. I'm very happy that you guys are liking the series so far. If you'd like sneak peeks on my future uploads, go to the description and join my Discord server. It's open to everyone, and I'd love to welcome you all there. This has been Ignited P, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.